What's going on, everyone? So yesterday, the Los Angeles Lakers beat the Toronto Raptors by the hair of their chinny chin chins. And DeAngelo Russell played in a very minimal role. And since his return, and I mean, even since his move to the bench, he has not gotten the amount of minutes that he's been accustomed to since being with the Lakers. You look at the Toronto game, he put up 17 minutes and 11 points, 1 rebound, and 5 assists in that time, 4 of 8 from the field, which is great, 50%. He was a +7 on the game and had a very solid game, right? This is a guy that when he was starting was getting, nearly 30 minutes a game. And even with Reeves and stuff, when Reeves was on the bench and DLO was starting, DLO was still getting heavy minutes and was being leaned on pretty heavily. I mean, the Lakers have not won a game when DeAngelo Russell misses. They're 2-0 since his return, and he was solid in the Clipper game also, right? This is a guy that the Lakers could really use and need his production. Now, DLO in the Clipper game did play 31 minutes, and he did give you 13 points and 6 assists in that time, shot 5 of 14 from the field, but it's just odd that the consistency hasn't really been there with DLO, right? Darvin Ham hasn't really operated him the way that he did with Reeves when Reeves was on the bench. And there is a real argument to swap the two once again. Put DLO in the starting unit, put Reeves off the bench. Reeves has struggled to shoot the 3-ball. DLO has been pretty consistent in that regard. He hasn't been just lights out like he was last year, but he's been better from 3 than Austin Reeves has this year and on a more consistent pace. And DLO has been our best playmaker, not named LeBron James, right? His vision, one of the best plays in all of basketball is the pick and roll between him and Anthony Davis. When DeAngelo Russell gets the opportunity to actually run and play the point guard, he's brilliant. Now, problem is he doesn't get a lot of that time. And don't get me wrong, there are moments and stuff where he tries to get a little too cute, tries to get a little too flashy, and that can be frustrating. But there is no doubt about it that he can absolutely make plays and get things done, right? And you look at him on the season, he's averaging almost 29 minutes per game, but he just can't seem to find a real rhythm or just roll with this Lakers team. And personally, I think it's because he's out the door. I genuinely do. I think that they are playing him the bare minimum to keep him fresh, to show like, hey, he can still play, he can still ball, right? He's coming off the bench for us. So, hey, Chicago, you could use him off the bench this season, right? Hey, Atlanta, you could use him off the bench this season, right? Wherever he ends up going, I think the Lakers are just kind of playing DLO just to show face and ultimately don't really care so much about how he feels or, the situation that he's in. DeAngelo Russell, he doesn't talk to the media again today yesterday for the Toronto game. And it's just, there's definitely this growing sense of like DLO is out the door, right? The Lakers going and getting Mays and Windler, it just was really questionable, right? And look, I like DLO a lot. I think if he's given a real shot, real fair opportunity, I think in the right situation, he could thrive and be a very good basketball player for many teams in this league, right? I mean, even this year, he's still shooting 38% on what is looked at as a very down year. But he's been excellent defensively for the Lakers, which is another thing too, right? Darvin Ham looks at Austin Reeves so heavily and leans on Reeves so heavily, but he's been by far, and I mean by far, the worst defender between him and DeAngelo Russell. And look, I'm not saying DeAngelo Russell is some like super elite, lockdown defender, but he's been very good. He has not been bad by any stretch of the imagination. Austin Reeves is the one that is literally getting targeted out there. Teams aren't heavily targeting DLO on the defensive side of things, but they are when it comes to Austin Reeves. When Austin Reeves is out there, teams are just scouting and hunting him down. And I just think, again, just my thoughts on just the situation that's at hand. I just think that D'Lo knows he's on his way out. I think the Lakers very likely have an idea of what's to come, and they know that he's on his way out too. Even Rui's been day to day, right? I think if the Lakers truly were planning on keeping Rui all season, I think he'd probably be playing right now. I also think D'Lo would probably be playing more significant minutes and more significant time, right? But if you're trying to save these guys and make sure they don't get injured, you're trying to save these guys and make sure that hey, all is good, right? You're not going to play them too heavily, right? I mean, look, D'Lo very likely knew a trade was coming the moment he re-signed with the Lakers, right? Because, again, the Lakers didn't convince him to waive his no-trade clause just for fun. And, I mean, there were reports before DAngelo Russell even signed with the Lakers that the Lakers wanted to keep him solely just to trade him. That they didn't want to just lose him for nothing, and they wanted him to be a valuable trade asset that they could use to kind of upgrade the roster. And guess what? I think that's happening. Whether it's Zach LaVine or DeJounte Murray or somebody else, whoever it is, whatever combination, maybe it's, the Lakers, instead of the home run trade and getting that third guy, maybe they do go get several pieces. I personally still think it's going to be Zach LaVine. I really do. But, even if it's several pieces and they work out some type of trade where it's, multiple, there's clearly something going on. The Lakers are clearly planning and cooking something. D'Lo is frustrated. He's been a model employee, right? He's been a guy that hasn't really said much, right? He kind of just like, hey, I just want to win. He gives the company man answer and stuff, because obviously he doesn't want to sabotage his career. He doesn't want to end up, putting himself in a position to where now teams aren't really interested in him because, he's now just running off. And the last stint with the Lakers, he didn't really end in the best circumstances and stuff, right? With the whole Nick Young thing. I feel for D'Lo because I like D'Lo. And the Lakers have an excellent record when D'Lo is good and playing the way that we know D'Lo can play. I know many Laker fans aren't super high on him. I think if the worst case scenario is you keep D'Lo, I think that would be okay if he was used properly and in the proper role. I think a lot of times he's not. I think the Lakers have continuously tried to find a point guard, and I think that they finally found one in DAngelo Russell, and they just do not let him be the point guard. I mean, D'Lo himself has said, he said it in the offseason on what was the Pat Beverly show, right? On the Pat Bev podcast, I think it was, where he was just like, I don't know what my role is sometimes. Like, you want me to play off the ball? Okay, I play off the ball. You want me to play on the ball? Okay, I'll play on the ball, right? Like, there's times where it just looks like D'Lo doesn't really have a role out there. Right? He's just kind of out there. And the Lakers keep trying to force the ball on Austin Reeves. Austin Reeves is not a better playmaker than DAngelo Russell. Austin Reeves is not very good with ball pressure. Austin Reeves can find the open man. I know if you just look at the surface, right? And you look at Austin Reeves, like, assist totals, right? Because you look at, like, DAngelo Russell, he's averaging 6 assists a game. So it's like, okay, well, he's giving you 6. And then you look at a guy like Austin Reeves, and again, on the surface, you might think like, oh, like Austin Reeves is an excellent playmaker, right? Because Austin Reeves is averaging 5 assists, right, and 15 points, and all that. Like, but if you actually watch the two play, one guy constantly has his head on a swivel. One guy constantly gets tunnel vision. One guy is excellent in the pick and roll. One guy is kind of forces it at times. One guy is comfortable and okay in ball pressure. One guy is not. One guy is capable of creating plays out of nothing and getting guys in a position to have success. One guy is not. Right? And the guy that is DAngelo Russell. The guy that's not is Austin Reeves. And look, I'm not saying Austin Reeves can't get there. but he's not a point guard yet. He is a scoring guard that is operating as a point guard at times. Austin Reaves can find the open man. He can find the occasional cutter, but he's not seeing the floor the way that DLO does at times. I mean, look at the one game where DLO actually got to play point guard start to finish and LeBron James didn't play. DAngelo Russell put on an absolute clinic. Just playmaking and scoring and just shredding. But he just cannot find a consistent role. The Lakers want him gone, and I think it's wearing on him, right? And then you wonder why he's not been as good this year as he was last year. And it's like, he has no real role. He has no real consistency. He knows he's about to get traded any day. As soon as the 15th comes around, he might be out the door. And that is literally 5 days away from the day that this video is posted. Like, what is the man supposed to do? You know, I want to see DLO have success. You know, I was genuinely excited when the Lakers brought DLO back. I thought he was great. A guy that could play off the ball, guy that could play make. LeBron's been searching for a point guard because he wants to play off the ball. And we've gone through Dennis Schroeder twice and, you know, Russell Westbrook, and we've done all these things to try to get these point guards. I was like, man, you got it. DLO was great in the Grizzlies series, great in the Warriors series. I mean, single-handedly, like, won a game in each of those series. Yes, I understand he struggled and was rough in the Denver series, but so was everybody. Like, people want to put it all on DLO, like, oh, DLO was the only reason we lost that series. Where was everybody else? Right? Where was everybody else? I mean, no one was good in that series. Yes, if DLO would have dropped 20 and averaged 20 that series, then we probably would have won, sure. But you could have said, like, where was Rui during that stretch? Where was LeBron in some of those games? Right? I get he was injured, but so was DLO. DLO had a foot injury. He missed a couple games, remember, before the playoffs. And he even said in an interview, he's like, it's something I got to deal with, but I'm not missing the playoffs. Right? Like, you know, the only one that really showed up in that Denver series was Reaves. Outside of that, I mean, even AD was questionable at times. So I can't put all the blame on DLO. DLO's done what he's been asked. He's been a model citizen, but I just think the writing is on the wall. I genuinely do. And look, I mean, there's a real argument. Some people are going to completely disagree with this, but there's a real argument to be made to trade Austin Reaves over DAngelo Russell. One, I just think Austin Reaves, his trade value is higher, so I don't think the Lakers... Well, I think, one, you can make an argument either way, right? Trade him while his value is high. But I also think, like, with his salary compared to D'Lo's, right? I just think the Lakers are probably better off waiting for, like, that big home run deal, right? But D'Lo, again, as I said, is the better playmaker, the better shooter, and has been really good off the ball. If you get a guy like a Zach LaVine, there is genuine concern about just completely neutralizing Austin Reaves. Because if Austin Reaves, like right now, the role that Austin Reaves plays is as that secondary ball handler, as well as the kind of go-to scorer down the stretch alongside LeBron James. But if you get a guy in Zach LaVine's probably going to be your primary ball handler alongside LeBron James. And he's going to be the guy that is scoring down the stretch. Now, if Austin Reaves was shooting 40% from three, or even 38% from three, like D'Lo is, rather than Reaves shooting 34%, right, that becomes a problem. But D'Lo, you could run alongside Zach LaVine. D'Lo's been much better defensively. He's the better playmaker. He could play off the ball and shoot 38% from three, right? So and if the Lakers trade D'Lo, they're gonna need another playmaker. Who else is gonna be your playmaker off the bench? Now maybe a Chris Paul gets traded and bought out, and you can bring him in, right? They just went and signed Mays to a 2-way contract, so maybe he's the guy. Right? I mean, but there is a genuine argument to keep DAngelo Russell over Austin Reaves. And I mean, even right now, Austin Reeves gives you the same production, whether he starts or comes off the bench. D'Lo has been better in the starting roles. I know Reeves has his stretches, he has his moments, don't get me wrong, right? But he's had those same stretches and those same moments off the bench. Like, it's funny, like, you see the stats, you see people like, oh, this is why you start Reeves, right? Because he started in, like, the first 3 games in which he started, he averaged 20. But, like, if you look, like, 5 games earlier, he had, like, a 5-game stretch where he averaged 20 a game, and he was coming off the bench. When he first moved to the bench, remember all the talk? Oh, here he is. And he immediately went to being a 20-point-a-game guy. Right? So he gives you the same production regardless. For Reeves, it's about the playing time. I mean, for D'Lo, to an extent, it's about the playing time also. But I just think D'Lo would fit better in the starting unit because, 1, the defense, and 2, he gives you a secondary playmaker alongside LeBron James. Again, you can make an argument either way. But I think the writing's on the wall. I think D'Lo's gone. I really do. I think D'Lo's getting traded for either Zach LaVine or somebody else. But I think D'Lo's gone. And I think D'Lo knows it. I think he's frustrated. I think part of him can't wait to get out. But, like, what is he going to do? What is he supposed to say? But anyway, as always, this is a discussion, so I pass the question on to you. Let me know your thoughts and opinions down in the comments below. What did you think? What were your thoughts when you saw the minutes that he played? Whether you watched the game or you followed it on the box score. What were your thoughts when you found out that he didn't stick around and speak to the media? You know? Which, again, I don't understand. He had a good game. I don't know why he didn't get more minutes, but, you know, again, I think the answer is they're trying to conserve him. His minutes have been very inconsistent. Since he moved to the bench, his minutes, again, like I said, he played 31 against the Clippers, but he's had multiple games where he's played under 20, right? And it's just strange. But, again, I feel whatever your thoughts are. I'd love to hear it. Let me know down in the comments below. That being said, if you haven't liked this video, hit that like button. Helps me out a lot. Lets me know you enjoy these types of videos, and I truly appreciate it. Not subscribed to the channel, hit that subscribe button. Turn on the bell notifications. Appreciate y'all. See you in the next one. Thank you.